Okay, we are all born naked and the rest is drag. Hello everyone, my name is Carl and that is a quote by the one and only RuPaul Charles, which is the most famous drag queen in the whole world. And the reason why I chose that quote today was because I'm going to be talking to you guys about the art of drag. And the reason why I love that quote so much is because it shows that drag is not only about the big wigs, the big makeup, and the big costumes, but it can also be about the clothes that you wear in your everyday attire, because that is how you choose to express yourself to the world. And so today we're going to be going over the drag history, Stonewall, the entertainment purposes of drag, RuPaul's Drag Race, as well as the political involvement that drag queens have had. And so let's take it back to the very beginning with the history of drag, where drag can be seen as far back as the 1500s during the Shakespeare time, where oftentimes there were female roles that were played by male actors that were in wigs or in feminine clothing. And then this can also be seen in a Japanese style of theater called kabuki. And then it could even go way further back in time to the Egyptian time, where you can see in hieroglyphics that men were dressing as women. But let's go ahead and talk about one of the biggest milestones in drag, which is Stonewall. And so Stonewall is often referred to as the Stonewall Riots that occurred on June 28th, 1969. And so the Stonewall Riots happened because it was very common to where law enforcement was going into queer spaces and trying to enforce anti-LGBT laws. And so at this point, the drag queens had it, and there were big activists such as Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who were big influential characters throughout that time, because Marsha P. Johnson specifically was known for throwing the very first stone back at the law enforcement, which caused riots. And then this caused a really big cultural shift, because they now started to do parades, and they did marches inspired by these events in order to push the LGBT rights. And then this created a legacy for the Stonewall Inn, which happened in New York, because this marked the beginning of a change for drag queens. But to take things on a lighter note, we're going to go ahead and talk about the entertainment of drag. And so drag can often be seen, drag shows can often be seen in bars, clubs, cabarets, brunches, pageants. There's many different platforms where drag shows take place, and they are really good at community building. They oftentimes break down barriers of social norms. They celebrate diversity in their drag, because it doesn't necessarily matter what gender or what race you are. It matters that you are celebrating the same art form. And then oftentimes with the income of drag, it typically revolves around tips for drag queens, usually during those nightclubs or during those brunches where they earn tips for the performances. Oftentimes it is seen that they are lip syncing to another song, which is just singing the words along to a song while performing in their big costumes and in their big makeup. And then so the art of drag is throughout multiple platforms, such as different social medias like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And then you can also see many YouTube channels of drag queens either performing or doing makeup tutorials. You can even see in recent times that drag queens have made it as far as being in really renowned fashion shows. And then they've also been seen on some famous magazine covers as well. But we can't talk about drag without talking about one of the most famous shows of drag, which is RuPaul's Drag Race. And so what is RuPaul's Drag Race? It is a show about a drag queen competition, to where drag queens perform numerous challenges, such as acting challenges, sewing, lip syncing, and then depending on how they are received by the fans and how they do on the show, they could potentially win the show for $100,000 and a crown, and then they are the reigning queen for about a year. And so this show has had a big impact on drag because this has given a platform for drag to be celebrated. There are oftentimes viewing parties at clubs or at bars. Even a lot of at-home drag race viewings take place, like me, my boyfriend, and my friends do. And then same thing with RuPaul's Drag Race. It is great for diverse representations, including white, black, Hispanic, Asian, all different sorts of ethnicities, and it has great fan engagement, which is good for community building. And then lastly, the thing that we're going to talk about is the political involvement, because not only are drag queens a great source of entertainment, but they are also great political activists. And so as we've seen in Stonewall, they are the ones that really spearheaded that activism. And so they have been fighting for LGBT rights and LGBT visibility and representation throughout all platforms. They are also really good about doing fundraisers and charity work. And then you can even see them doing education gigs such as reading to children. And so one thing that should be noted too is that sometimes people believe that drag is not meant for children, that it's only meant for adults, but just like theater, there's adult theater and child-friendly theater, and that same goes for drag as well. But yeah, so today we talked about the history of drag, the Stonewall riots, its entertainment purposes, and how politically involved the drag queens can be. But yeah, that is my speech today, and thank you guys so much.